Hello, welcome, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be back. I have been sick for the last like 4 days and I am barely recovering, getting back to normal. You can hear a little bit of nasal in my nose, but like I said, I am recovering. I really wanted to record yesterday, but I knew that my nasally nose was going to get in the way and be a huge distraction. So here we are today. Last week I was out for work, which by the way, I will share a story about that. But today I want to talk about love, okay? Valentine's Day is around the corner and love is complicated, okay? Love is so complicated, and it's complicated because there's so many aspects that come into play, right? Personalities, backgrounds, judgments, opinions, right? There's just like so many, even finances get in the way sometimes too. Finances can be a really big strain sometimes on a relationship. But today I want to talk about how taking a leap of faith in love is really important, even if it hurts you, okay? So, yes, love is scary. We could get hurt. That is a possibility. But there is also a possibility where it could thrive, right? And so we never know until we actually just take a leap of faith and we jump and we give it our all and we're vulnerable and we state our minds, right? We state our opinions, we share ourselves with the person who we're in a relationship with. And it's scary because being vulnerable means that we have to open up ourselves, right? We gotta take out that emotional box sometimes and share our feelings about certain things, share our opinions about the world, like politics, everything that we feel, we need to share it. And the thing is that we never know what that person is going to love about what we say or hate about what we say, agree with what we say or disagree with what we say, unless we say it. And that's where I think just like a lot of people hold back and they get scared and they don't share those things because they don't want to get hurt. They don't want to face rejection. But the thing is that after we open up, we discover, okay, who is for us and who is not for us. What does this person agree with me on and what does this person not agree with me on? And I think that there has been a lot of talk about toxic relationships, and I think what makes a relationship toxic, because I have been in one myself, what makes a relationship toxic is when you start becoming a version of yourself that is completely lost, completely broken, and completely not yourself anymore. Like you just completely lose your authenticity. That is a toxic relationship that has hit rock bottom. Okay. And the other person as well, who is in that toxic relationship, they lose themselves. They also like, get confused. They also like start living a life that's just like not authentic to them either. So like both people lose in a toxic relationship. Sometimes one person wins, and in that case it's like a narcissistic relationship, right? But we're not going to touch on that, okay? So yes, love is scary. We could get hurt, but we could also be loved for who we are. We have to take the chance to be vulnerable, take that leap of faith. And even if you do get hurt, you do get a lesson out of that. Like, it's not necessarily about you not being vulnerable. The lesson is like, okay, well, I just learned that, you know, that person didn't agree with me on this certain thing that I liked and that I think is very important to me. And so therefore, me and that person, we're just not going to get along. We're not going to be able to grow. And it really just depends on what the conversation was about, you know? It really depends on what the situation is, because sometimes you can disagree on certain topics, but you guys can still grow together, you know? Like, individuality in relationships is so important, okay? Like, I've discovered this myself and I've learned a lot about this. In the toxic relationship that I was in, I was super codependent. I completely lost myself because I just wanted to give to him and pour into him and make sure, you know, that he was okay, that he was thriving, you know, that he was succeeding and all of these things. And he wasn't returning any of that back to me, and I just lost myself. I lost my job, I lost my independence, I lost my security, I lost my confidence. So yeah, all of that was just out the window for me. But you know, he was fine and he could care less. He literally could care less about me. And so that was just like a huge wake up call for me to like regain who I was, right? And to not do that again in a relationship. And so independence is so important in a relationship. Individuality is so important. And you know, people respect people who have their own lives. They have their own things going on. They have their own schedule. They have their own hobbies, you know. They create their day. Therefore, they create their life. And their life isn't centered around the other person, okay? Like, because that's just clingy, codependent. It's annoying, right? And it makes the other person feel suffocated. And I know a lot about this just by observing my parents' relationship as well. My parents were together for 18 years, never married, separated, I think 4 or 5 times. I lost count, honestly. So growing up, I saw a lot of codependency. I saw a lot of strain, right? I didn't see love. I didn't see like a healthy love growing up with my parents, but I also saw my aunt's relationships, my dad's sisters, and all of them had, you know, strong marriages. So I saw what it's like to have a healthy relationship and not a healthy relationship. And so I kind of do know a lot about love as well as just having my own experience. And one thing that I have learned that is very important in a relationship is having that sense of individuality. And the person respects you a lot when you have your own sense of being, right? Your own personality, your own way of moving through the world, and creating a life of your own while also being able to share that life with the other person. And we'll talk about compromising in another video, because compromising is a very complicated subject that needs its own video. And I actually have a lot of opinion on compromising, you know, what is a healthy compromise and what is not. So going back to the capacity to love, even if it hurts you, okay? But what about the capacity to love even if it works out, right? Like that's the best case scenario. But even if you do get hurt after being vulnerable, you get the lesson and you know that person just didn't work out for you, but that means that you are one person closer, right? You are one step closer to finding your person, your soulmate, okay? And which a soulmate, I don't know if there's one perfect soulmate. There's so many people in the world. How can you find, just that one person, right, who's your soulmate? I think that there's a lot of people who we can build great lives with, and I'll just leave that at that. Okay, what if I say this, or what if I had just said that? So yeah, if we don't open ourselves up in a relationship, we're constantly like playing this mind game with ourselves, like, oh, well, creating this dialogue in our head, like, well, they're gonna say this, they're gonna say that, but you don't really know until you actually say it, okay? And this is where, like, I think a lot of people want to control certain aspects in their relationship, right? They want to control the conversation because they have like these expectations in their head. They're trying to control the way it's gonna go, the way a conversation's gonna go, the way the relationship, on the grand scheme is gonna go. But really, we just don't know. All you can do is control yourself, and what you can do is just open up, okay? And be mindful of yourself, be mindful of how you're opening up, your tone, right? How you're presenting yourself, and really coming from a place of authenticity. People love authenticity. Like, it's just like something so magnetizing. Okay, and people really respect people who are authentic. I'm going to leave that there because my daughter needs me. But take that leap of faith, okay? It's better to have loved. It's better to have loved than have never loved at all, right? So take that leap of faith so you can find out. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm so glad to be back. Hit that like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you to all of you who have subscribed. I'm so happy to have you here. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye.